Hi everyone. So I've done plenty of mediums recently, and the easies are, well, very easy. So I thought I'd venture back into some of the variant Sudokus. And this one is called Outward Expansion. It's by the same group of people that did everything else in this particular series. And this is another Killer Cages Sudoku, where digits within cages marked by dashed lines can't repeat and must sum to the number in the upper left corner of the cage. Now, what exactly does that mean? So these three cells sum to 9, which is up there in tiny print, right there, where the cursor is. These three cells will sum to 8. These 5 cells will sum to 35, etc. Okay, so with that, let's see. I've got 3 cells that sum to 20. I've got 5 cells that sum to 16. 20 plus 16 is 36, and anybody that has done Sudoku for a while knows that every row or every column or every 3 by 3 box must contain digits 1 through 9 once each, and the sum of 1 through 9 happens to be 45. So 20 plus 16 is 36. There's one cell missing that's not in a killer cage. It's 9, because 36 plus 9 is 45. Now, in a similar fashion, I should be able to figure out some of the other ones. 21 plus 10 is 31, plus 8 is 39, which gives that cell as a 6. 35 plus 8 in box 3 is 43, and that gives this cell as a 2. Am I going to have... No, I don't have one cell in every box. This one, 22 plus 13 is 35, plus 8 is 43. That gives this cell uncaged as a 2. Here I've got 4. Well, I know immediately that's a 1-3 pair, because it can't be double 2. 4 plus 16 is 20, plus 6 is 26, plus 14 is 40. This cell is therefore a 5. This one, 21 plus 8 is 29, plus 9 is 38. That one now is 7. And now we have some interesting figures. Let's see. These 5 cells sum to 15. Well, the minimum for any 5 digits, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the sum of 1 through 5 happens to be 15, also known as the triangular number for 5. It's basically, triangular numbers are 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus ... plus all the way to n, where n is the number of digits you're adding and summarizing. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 set now. This obviously can't be 2 because there's a 2 in the column already. So these 4 cells are 6, 7, 8, 9. Whoops, I want to center the candidates. And these can't be 7. Okay, so 8 cannot be 1, 7 because of this 7. It cannot be 2, 6 because of that 2. So these are a 3, 5 pair. And they can't be double 4. Now, this 5 looks at that one. That can't be 5. So that's a 3, that's a 5. Now, this one, therefore, can't be 3 or 5. Let's see. 35 in 5 digits. I have a sneaking suspicion, and I think I'm right. This is 98765. And indeed, those 5 digits sum to 35, so... Okay, so I know immediately that's not 6 or 9. That's not 5 or 7. It's got things in columns looking at it. Let's see, I'm going to put known good digits and I'll highlight those. Like green or something. Oh, heck. I do not know how to use the highlights on this very well. Well, I think light green might actually be better. I'll do that. This one on the first color palette. Anyway, okay. Let's see. 10, it doesn't include a 2 and a 6, so 2 8 are out, 3 7 are out, and 1 9 are out because of this 9, so that 10 is therefore a 4 6 pair. No, it isn't. That's not right. 3 7. Why did I type 4 6 there? Okay, and whichever way the 3 7 goes is going to determine this 1 3. Now, 14 in 2 cells can't be 5 9 because of this, and it can't be double 7 because that breaks the rules of Sudoku, so this is 6 8. So I've got 1 3 5 6 and 8 in box 5. Now that's interesting. This 6 I think is 2 4. It's the only way I can make 6, and therefore that 16 is 7 9, but the place 7 tells me the order. So that gives me 2 more digits. And as expected, this 7 sorts out the 3 7 to make 10. So that gives me 2 more digits. Okay, this cell is not 7. Let's see, 13 in 2 cells in box 4. Now, since this must be a 2 4 pair, a 4 is either looking at this cell or this cell, so it cannot be 9 4. Now, it could be 8 5, but the order would have, well, no, it actually can't be 8 5 because I've got 2 5s looking at both of these cells. So this cannot be 9 4 because a 4 is looking either here or here. It can't be 8 5 because I've got 2 5s looking at it. Therefore, it must be 7 6, and this 7 tells me the order. 6 plus 7 to make 13. Going like that. Let's see. 16 in, but again, that's 5 cells. Now, I said earlier that 5 cells to make 15 must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The only way to increment that to make 16 is replace the 5 with a 6. Because if I replace anything else, I either raise it too high or I end up with a repeat. I can't do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to make it 2, 2, 3, 4, 5 because that repeats a 2 in the cage and that's not allowed. Similar logic applies for 3 and 4, so therefore this 5 cell set to make 16 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 in some order. These cells, the remaining 3, to make 20 are thus 5, 7, 8. Now, this cell can't be 7 because of that. This cell can't be 7 because of this. So guess what? I happen to know where the 7 goes. And neither of these cells are 7. Now, I need to clean up some pencil marking. This one has 2 and 6 looking at it. This one has 2, 3, and 6 looking at it. Wait a minute. I've got everything in row 2 filled except a pair of 5 8s. This is a 1 4, so guess what? That's either 1 or 4. So because it's 1 or 4, 4 must appear at some point in this 8 cage, I believe, and therefore the other 2 cells have to be 1 3 because I've got 2 cells to make 4. So these are 1, 3, 4, except this one can't be 3, so that's the other 1, 4, and therefore I'm reasonably convinced that's a 3. And oh, look at that, I get a party for it after the folks that made the Correcting the Cryptic YouTube channel. Okay, that's not 7 because I've got a 7 in the other corner looking at it. That one needs to be highlighted. Oh, well, let's see, that 3 comes down here. This isn't 3. Okay, 21 and 3 cells. Unfortunately, it could be any number of things. Maybe not, because 8... Maybe it could be. 876 would work, except I've already used a 6 and a 7. So 9... Well, 9-3 doesn't work. 9-8-4 is forced to work. 9-7-5 doesn't because of the 7 already there. So the next digit down would be 8. And then I'm left with 5 and a repeat 8. And if I went 8-4, I'm still left with 9. So, yeah, I think this is 9-8-4, I think. And that's forced. And I meant to put this in the center. Now, that's not 9. But I've used a 4 in this row, and therefore I'm pretty sure that can't be 4. So that's 1, and that's 4. Now that 1 comes down here. That's 4, and this isn't. None of these are 4. This 4 now comes over here. That's 1. None of these are 1. Okay, I'm left with a 6, 8, 9 triple in column 8. Okay, let's see. 8 in 3 cells. It doesn't include 7 or a 6. Interesting. Well, it obviously cannot include a 9 or an 8. And it can't include 7, 6. The next digit down is a 5, and the only other way to make 2 cells add to 3 is 1, 2. So these 3 cells are definitely a 1, 2, 5, and this one can't be 5. So that's a forced configuration. Well, let's see. That may do something, doesn't it? Because a 2 is definitely here. So neither of these cells can be a 2. This one can't be 2. That one can't be 2 because it definitely has a 2 in row 3 looking at it. Therefore, the only place for 2 in box 1 is right there. Now, in a similar fashion, well, it won't affect row 3, but there's also a 1 looking at it. Now, I definitely have a 5 here, so neither of these cells are a 5. So 5 is definitely in one of those two. There's a cornered 5 in this cell, along with a cornered 5 in that cell. So that means none of these are 5. Because I have a 5 in column 7 looking at it. And therefore, the only place for 5 is right there. Okay, what does that do? Not much. Well, maybe it does. I've got 5 cells here in box 7 that sum to 34. Now this is 1 off from 35. My gut says it's going to be 98764. because I had 5 cells summing to 35 that were 98765, and if I remove any of the higher digits by 1, then I have to remove everything else down by 1, and then I'm left with a total that's too low. So the only way I make 34 in 5 cells is 98764. Now, this cell happens to have 6, 7, 9 in the column and 4 in the row looking at it, so guess what? That's an 8. So none of these are 8 because they're in the box. This one can't be 4 or 7 or 8. And that one isn't 4. Let's see, 8 comes back up here. That's going to sort out the 5, 8 in box 1. And then the 5, 8 in row 2. Let's see, so this is definitely not 5. Let's see, 21 I said was 489, so there's definitely a 9 and an 8 looking at this cell. This can't be 8 or 9, I think it's 6. That says none of these cells are 6. See, I've got 6 in one of those two. What does that help me with? Not much. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Or am I going to run into a problem with 3 cells adding to 21 that cannot include 1, 2, 3, 5, or 6? 8, 7 would force to be 6, and I already have the 6 used. 9, 8, 4, I think is the only other way to do it. Because I've only got 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I can't use 4, 6 because I have to write a double-digit number in. And the next highest digit I can use is 7, but then I have 2 cells summing to 14, but I can't do it with 6 and 8 because I've already used the 6. So these are definitely 984. Now what that means is I've got a 9 and an 8 looking at this cell. That's a 7. Okay, so 489 here. That means these are 126. That one's not 2, and that one's not 6. But 126, looking here, that means there's definitely a 6 in column 9, and therefore neither of these are 6. Let's see, we've definitely put a 7 in one of these. Let's see, what other killer cages are left that I haven't filled yet? These 3 cells sum to 8, but cannot include, well, 7 or 6 by acclamation because otherwise I'd have to write 0 or a negative number. They can't include 8 or 9 for obvious reasons, so I'm left with 5, but 5 would be 2 cells to make 3, which is 2 and 1, so that clearly doesn't work, so I'm left with 1, 3, 4, that's it. That's the only combination that's left. So, this one can't be 3, but I've now got definitely a 1, a 3, and a 4 looking up here. This cannot be 3 or 4. As a result, the lower left corner in box 1, therefore that must be 6. And that one isn't. And I now have reduced this down to a 3, 4 pair, yay. But 6 comes down here, that's now a 9. These aren't 9. Let's see, that's a 467 triple de facto, I think. So I've got 1, 2, 4, 6, 7 placed. I need 5, 7. Oh, I need 5, 3, 5, 8, and 9 to make 22. And the only way I do that in 3 cells is 985 out of the digits that are left. Let's see, this can't be 9, and these can't be 5, because they've got 5s looking at them. I've got an 8, 9 pair looking at this one, which turns into a 5. Let's see. Well, I can start making some deductions here. In row 4, the only place for 6 is here. And in row 4, the only place for an 8 is right there. Let's see. I don't know anything else about that. But I should be able to fill in theory, the bottom third of the grid. Well, I've got this 9 cage in 3 cells staring at me that cannot include at least a 4 and a 5. Well, it can't include an 8 or a 9 or a 7. So I have to start with at least a 6, and 6, 2, 1 I think is it. Because I can't include 5, 4, and everything else is too small. So these 3 cells are 1, 2, 6, or 6, 2, 1, no matter how you look at it. Now what that means, importantly, is that this cell has a 1 and a 2 looking at it, so that's a 3. Oh, okay. Let's see. 5 in one of those two, but that doesn't help when I don't have enough other information to go on. And I've got a 9 in one of these two, which doesn't help when I don't have another 9 to go on in the middle 3 columns. Well, I'm going to have to start looking at the remaining cells I haven't filled in yet. I said 5 cells summing to 34 in box 7 were 98764. So the other cells must sum to 11. They should be 5, 3, 2, and 1, and those 4 cells indeed do sum to 11. Now, these 2 cells both have 2 and 5 looking at it, so they're a 1, 3 pair. This turns into 2 and 5. I've now got a 1, 3 pair looking at this cell, which sorts out the 3, 4 in row 3. I wish I knew what the do I know what the composition is of this 21 cage in 3 cells? I don't know that I know definitively. See, I've got an X-wing on 4s there, and I've got an X-wing on 2s there. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. 2, 4 looks up here. This can't be 2. Yeah. I still haven't proved that this is not 1. Because this could still be 2, and this could be 3, and this, therefore, could still be 1 or 5. I wanted to go there next, but I don't think I can. Now, what else can I do with this grid? Oh, we said these were 6, 2, 1. So this isn't 6, and therefore must be 7. Let's see, that turns into a 4, 6 pair, so... Now, what I cannot do is say because of the 4, 6 pair, neither of these cells can be 6, because then I have an 8, 9 pair looking at that, and then I have 2 cells being 7. So, I can't say that. But what I can do is look at what else is filled in and say 2, 4 looking at this. This cell definitely has a 2 looking at it, therefore it must be 1. Now that turns into a 2, 6 pair. That 1 comes up here. Turns out that's 3, that's 5. Now 3 is going to sort out that being 1, which sorts out that being 2 and that being 1. That did a lot to unwind. All those rows. Now, this cell has 1 and 3 looking at it, it's a 4, which tells me that's a 1 and therefore that's a 3 by markings and cage totals. This 1 now unwinds that as 2, 1. This 2 comes back over here, unwinds this as 4, 2. This 2 is going to come down here. That's 6, 2. This 4 comes over here. 9, 4, like that. Okay, this 9 now comes over here. It's going to sort out 8, 9 there, and this 6 is going to sort out that 8, 6, which has been shouting at me for ages. Oh, that's done. See, this 4 comes over here. That's not 4, and this one has an 8 looking at it. I still haven't discerned this 8, 9. Or this one 2. Or this one 3. Now, these cells that are left in column 4 are 7, 8, 9 in some fashion, because 1 through 6 is filled in. These ones, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, so these are 3, 4, and 9, aren't they? These ones, because 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 9 are filled in, they are 4, 5, or 8 in some fashion. Now, what I need to look at, because I filled out every one of the cage totals except for this one, is which combination of these digits will get me that. Well, 3, I don't think. And we said that these cells can't be 3 because of that. These cells can't be 3 because of that. The only 2 cells that could be 3 are these 2. Well, if I put a 3 in a cage to make 21, that means I need 2 cells to add to 18, but that leaves double 9, which obviously isn't going to fly with the rules of Sudoku, let alone the rules of the cage. So this cell cannot be a 3, and therefore that one is. Okay, so that 3 is going to sort out the 1, 3 in column 2. And that's as far as I'm going to get with that, I think. But this 1 is now going to come over here. That sorts out the 2, 1 in column 7. The 2 comes back over here. Sorts out the 5, 2 in column 1. All that says is this isn't 5. I now have a 4, 8 looking down here. That turns into a 5, and that tells me I need 2 things in this cage to sum to 16. That must be 9, 7 by arithmetic because it can't be double 8. And the only place for 7 is there, so that's 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. I need 9 more to make 21. And I should be done at this point. It's basically nothing but filling digits in. This has 7 looking at it from the column and 9 looking at it from the box. So that's an 8, which tells me that's 9, that's 4. That 8 tells me this is 4, which sorts out the 6, 4 in column 3. This has 6 and 8 looking at it. That's 9. That's going to sort out the 8, 9 in box 3 that's been waiting for a while. I need 6 to fill out column 8, and now I'm down to this 4 looks up there. That's an 8. That's 7. That's 8. And it says yay. So, probably not my best time for something like this, but I am proud of the fact that I did manage to get it completely done with absolutely no given digits. And with that, thank you for joining me. I'll just finish highlighting the rest of the grid here. And if you like these types of medium New York Times Sudokus or variants, don't forget to consider commenting, liking, and or subscribing. Thank you very much.